Hello, happy Tuesday, good morning. I am Melissa Agnes, and this is Morning Lives with me, Melissa Agnes, a daily space to help leaders like you stay grounded, stay connected, stay on purpose, stay in remembrance of what's real and what matters and what's true. So as you do the work that you do, as you do the work that you're called to do, as you step into the importance of the impact that you're here to make, if you are looking to continuously be able to access unwavering steadiness, wouldn't that be great? And increased clarity, especially in the moments where the answers are unclear, and deeper connection. And whenever I talk about connection, I talk about first connection to yourself, which is a big part of what we do in this show, connection to that thing that's bigger than us, right? Infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom, God, divine, co-creator, quantum, universe, whatever you want to call it, and connection with those you're leading. Then if you're looking for these things, and this is the space for you, that is my purpose. So every morning I show up live at 9 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn and on IG to share one anchoring message, always different, and to lead one coherence drop-in to help you get into your body, into that connection that I just talked about. And I'll go more into that when we get to that, the second half of this show today. So my ask is, if this show supports you, benefits you, if you gain any value from it, please share it. Please think of one leader in your mind right now who would benefit from tuning in, whether to the recordings, the podcast, because these all go into the podcast every day, or to the live morning episodes. And please share it with them. Okay, good morning. I can see people trickling in live on IG and LinkedIn. And today I want to do maybe more of a deeper drop-in, but I want to pose a question. And I would love to hear your response. So my question is, when is leadership revealed? In what moments is true leadership revealed? What comes to mind? Feel free to put that into the chat. And I know that there's a lag, which is very annoying, so you won't, we're going to be a little bit delayed here in real time. If you're listening to the recording of this, I want you to put some thought into that. In what moments is leadership really, really revealed? Because leadership isn't, just because you're in a position of leadership doesn't make you a leader, doesn't make you an actual leader. And there are moments when leadership is truly revealed. And in those moments are challenges, right? And also so much opportunity to have such meaningful impact, which is what leadership gets to have and gets to do. And I'll also say this, it doesn't matter to me what your rank is, how old you are, where you sit in the organizational chart of or wherever you work or wherever you serve, where you're from, what you look like, what your gender is, what your identity is. Like, none of that is what I'm talking about. Because you can be at the quote-unquote bottom of the organizational chart and a leader, a truer leader in the sense of what I'm talking about, than those who are at the top, quote-unquote top of that organizational chart. So I really, there's this saying of like, all of us, each of us is a leader. That is absolutely true. So when is your leadership revealed? If you have your answers or some thoughts. Okay, Sandra says, hi Sandra. Sandra says, in times of chaos when things don't go as well as planned. Absolutely. So what does that mean, right? Like, that's when your leadership is revealed. Let's go a little bit deeper. What reveals a leader versus a non-leader, for a better way of saying that? I don't want to give answers. I really want to hear your responses. And yet there's this lag. So it's kind of like this uncomfortable kind of gap. So as you share and as you contemplate, I want to share a little bit more. Hi, Shauna. I see you guys joining, which is lovely. I'll share it. I'll say it again for those who are just joining. We're talking about, and I'm asking you, when is leadership revealed versus not revealed, right? Like, when do you realize that, oh man, like that person is an actual leader, is a true leader, versus that person was given the opportunity to lead in that moment and they failed. That's not a real leader, right? I'm being very simplistic in my term. Stevie says confidence shows itself to your people and they trust you and what you say. Yeah, but why would people trust you and what you say, right? Sandra says taking responsibility, shielding your team, showing the way back to shore. Yeah, absolutely. Shauna says IG less lag. Oh, yeah, the lag is real on LinkedIn. It's real. Okay, so I think Stephanie says courage and direction in uncertainty with a question mark. Yes, courage, absolutely. Direction and uncertainty. What comes to me when I think of those moments of when leadership is revealed. Leadership is revealed in accountability. These are things like leadership is revealed in accountability. Leadership is revealed when for the person who knows that it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up and being human and doing all of the things that you guys are saying in the chat. So courage and direction and uncertainty, like what that looks like, how to act on that, take responsibility, shield your team, showing the way back to shore, like that's in times of like crisis and uncertainty. Confidence shows itself to your people and they trust you in what you say. In times of chaos when things don't go as well as planned. It also is shown when you can take accountability for a mistake so it's not about, and I'm trying to get my words as I talk, because this wasn't premeditated. This was really like, this is on my heart and I want to have this conversation, which is why I appreciate you guys sharing your responses so it could be more of a conversation. So accountability is immediate. It's not strategic, right? Accountability is saying, hey, showing up as a human, showing up vulnerably, because it's vulnerable to take accountability, and taking ownership of a situation or a scenario, kind of to Sandra's point where you say shielding your team, like that could fall under that category. It's also when you have awareness that your intent does not replace a lack of awareness in a moment, right? You could have the best of intentions, but you should have had more awareness of the situation, right, as a leader. I don't know how that lands for you guys. Leadership is revealed when you realize, and I think it all just goes back to accountability, when you realize that the response of your responsibility in the power dynamic of a situation and with people, and when you realize and when you act on and are courageous enough to step into the fact that repair matters more than perfection. Repair matters more than perfection. If you make a mistake, or if something happens and an apology is due, or you just realize later that maybe that wasn't your best self or your best decision or your best action or your best foot forward, and you are able, when you realize that, to truly make repair, that is leadership. Why is that leadership? Because that's accountability. That creates safety. I talked last week about safety and the importance of creating 4 levels of safety for visionary leaders. It's also healing. So when I say intent does not replace awareness, you could have the best intention and still make a mistake that creates pain and suffering. I'm going to go with that. The second you realize it, remembering and taking accountability for that, and that you don't come back and go, well, that's not what I meant. That's not what I intended. Great, that's not what you intended, but that's the impact you had because you're a leader, right? If there was pain and suffering that created from it. So remembering that repair matters more than perfection. Being able to come back and go, I own that. I own my mistake in that moment. I own my lack of awareness in that moment. I've learned and grown from it, if you have. You meet that person, you have the courage to meet that person or those people in their experience of that moment. It doesn't matter what your intention was, it matters the impact. Those are the moments where leadership is revealed. And I can tell you that the majority of people who are in leadership, positions of leadership don't have this strength. It's hard to show up and be human and to admit that you're not perfect. It's also extremely relatable and trusting. And I personally, I don't know about you, but I trust more the leader who's able to show up and go, I'm going to do better next time. I could have done better that time, and I'm sorry, and here's how I'm showing up, and are you okay? And just like all the things, like really meet the situation with courage and with empathy and without the self-protective mechanisms of the ego and of fear. That's when leadership is revealed. And if you can't do that, you probably haven't been taught. There's layers that you can go through, like dig into as to like why you don't show up in that way, for example, in moments where leadership is called for. It doesn't make you a bad person. It does reveal gaps that are your responsibility. If you are in a position of leadership, they're your responsibility to dive into, to do the work, the inner work, so that you can show up with more courage. And there's a reason why we talk about safety and creating safety in yourself. Because I said this last week, if you don't feel safe enough and strong enough in your body, courageous enough, I should say courageous instead of strong, courageous enough in your body to show up in a moment where you're going to be vulnerable, then get with that. Because safety comes from within and then works its way out, right? It exudes out. We talked about that last week. And it's hard to step into those moments where you were an imperfect person, imperfect human. Humanity is imperfect. It's still hard because the ego wants to self-protect and self-preserve. But that is the moment where your leadership is revealed. And the safer you can feel with yourself, the easier it is to own your shit and to be vulnerable and to focus on the repair mattering more than the perfection. Stephanie says, holding vision and possibility. Yeah. It's easy to do that, though, when the sun is shining and everybody's with you and for you, and it's easy. Life is easy because it's a good day. It's hard to do that when it's not a good day, when there's a lot of uncertainty, when there's change happening, when there's shift, when there's chaos, when there's unknowns. And that's when leadership is revealed. It's not revealed on the sunny, good, happy, go lucky day. That's easy. We can all do that. And then Stephanie also says, yes, impact matters, not only intent. Absolutely. And having the awareness of your impact, having the awareness to go, oh, crap, that wasn't my intention, but I can see where I got that wrong. Let me go repair. And repair doesn't come with buts. It doesn't come with excuses. It doesn't come with gaslighting. It doesn't come with any of these things. It comes with being able to actually just go, I messed up. And figuring out how you can do better and meeting that person in that and not making excuses. Those are the moments when leadership is revealed. And I can say this, most leaders don't pass the test when their moments present themselves. And I don't blame the leaders. I mean, sometimes I do because we're going to take accountability. Sometimes people should know better and do better. And also, we haven't been raised in a society that's taught us how to do this with safety, with inner safety, to come from a place of inner safety. We've been raised in a society that's taught us that failure is failure, not data. Failure isn't data. Failure is failure. And you have to, you want to avoid failure at all costs, but really, we all fail. And failure brings us to evolution and to expansion and to deeper connection and to even more possibility and to the bigger success. So we've been set up for failure in this. And so this isn't to pick on anybody, but it is meant to raise awareness and to hold up a mirror that says, where are the moments when your leadership is revealed? And in those moments, how do you choose to step into those moments? Because that is everything. That is everything. And that is your leadership capacity and capability. And we can all always do better. Shauna says, like in football, when they review the tapes when they fail. Yeah. Yes. Yes. All right. And having a support system around you, I know I'm talking a lot today, I didn't intend to, but having a support system around you that's able to hold up that mirror and hold you accountable in a loving, compassionate way is essential. Having a coach who's able to get with you in that discomfort and hold you to it, but hold you to your highest standard and bring you there without judgment, without blame, without shame, without these things, in a loving, compassionate way that also expands you, that doesn't yes-men you, but expands you. These things are really, really important as tools for leadership. And most leaders, I don't think, have those either, which is why I exist. That's why these morning lives exist. It's also why my mastermind exists. So if you're interested in that, melissaagnes.com/mastermind. I'll share the link later. But yeah, okay. So that all being said, let's do a drop-in. Those of you who are joining for the first time, welcome. We do a morning coherence drop-in to really ground ourselves, anchor ourselves. All of these things, the deep courage that we're talking about today, the deep stability and security and safety that comes from within, when we do our drop-ins, we stretch that muscle. We build that skill. It helps to take you out of your analytical thinking, where the answers don't actually exist when you're in uncertainty, and into your body so that you can tap into stronger alignment, stronger vision, stronger clarity, stronger connection. So if it's your first time, you're just going to get still. I'm going to talk. You're going to breathe. We're going to do the halo active breath, as always, which is in through the nose, out through the mouth. All you have to do is listen to your body first and foremost and follow my voice. We're going to do this for about 10 minutes, and then we'll close out today's episode. So, getting comfortable. If you are driving, please don't do this. Come back to the recording, which will be available on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and wherever podcasts are streamed. Just look for Morning Lives with Melissa Agnes. Come back to it at a time when you can really give yourself, grant yourself, gift yourself these 10 minutes. If you are in public and you feel silly, but you can take this moment for yourself, please do. Because it's worth it, because you're worth it, and because this is a moment of leadership. Prioritizing what is right for your system, what is good for you, what is healthy and supportive for you, so that you can step into your most aligned, most connected self and lead the mission you are here to lead. So feel silly and do it anyway. It'll feel less and less silly every day. Okay, so shutting down eyes, softening your gaze, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And if you've already had a morning, shaking it out. Getting still, getting quiet, getting comfortable. And we're going to start that breath, which is in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And as you breathe out, following that breath all the way down your body, down your belly, letting it land with your awareness in your sit bones. So what does this mean? This means bringing awareness, keeping that breath flowing. So keep breathing in and out, in through your nose, out through your mouth. But as you do this, bringing the awareness to the sensation of the seat that you're sitting on against your skin. Practicing bringing our awareness to different places in and out of our body is a skill that'll deepen your alignment, your attunement. So just noticing the sensation of the seat against your body. And what do you notice? It's about getting curious. And notice if you can breathe more deeply in your inhales and in your exhales, and maybe allow yourself to sink even more deeply into that seat. Because guess what? That seat is not going to drop you, and it's not going to get upset if you really just offload all of your stress and your tension into it. So full permission. What am I permissioning? I'm permissioning you to feel safe, and I am permissioning you to feel good. Because this is your moments for you. And on your next inhale in through the nose, following that breath, so breathing that air in and following that breath up from your sit bones and landing straight in your heart. If it feels supportive, bringing a hand to your heart so that you can help your awareness really land there. And what we're doing here is called heart-focused breathing. HeartMath Institute has a lot of research around heart-focused breathing. And what you're doing is you're just pretending, imagining that it is actually your heart that is pulling in the oxygen. So you're breathing in through your nose and you're opening up your heart space. And you're feeling that air come in through your heart space. So maybe you expand your chest cavity. Maybe you visualize your heart's electromagnetic field expanding past your bodily border. Doesn't matter what you do. It just matters that it feels good in your body. And with every exhale then, following that breath from your heart down into your belly, into your solar plexus. And if it feels good to you, bringing a hand to your belly and a hand to your heart, so you could really focus on the breath coming in through the heart space as you inhale through the nose, out, down into the belly as you exhale through the mouth. So let's just take this breath on your own, allowing it to feel good, expansive, and just noticing what you notice. Noticing what you notice without judgment, without shoulds or shouldn'ts, just with presence, open curiosity, and compassion for yourself. What do you notice? If you notice some tension, maybe breathing into that space in your body that feels tense, giving it some love, giving it some air, some breath, some of your life force. If it feels good, you're breathing, can you let it feel even better? If your voice in your mind kicks in and you start thinking, just notice that you're thinking. It means you're alive, so we could be grateful for that. And then bringing your awareness back to your breath, to your body. This is a practice. Keeping that breath flowing, can you expand even more through the heart space? opening up that heart even more, letting it feel even better, even more expansive. And then when you exhale through the mouth and follow that breath into your belly, can you sink even more deeply into the safety and the relaxation of that breath, of that exhale? Just playing, noticing what you notice. Keeping that breath flowing. HeartMath Institute is a really great resource, and they do a lot of research on what we're doing, on getting into heart-brain coherence. And heart-focused breathing is one of the ways, one of the quick accesses to get out of your head and into your body. So moments that this is helpful is when you feel stressed, when you feel anxious, when you feel like your brain is just rambling and you need some stillness. And when we pull that breath into the belly, what we're doing is we're creating this pathway to that safety that I talk about. So that when you are walking into a moment when your leadership is really, there's an opportunity for you to really step into it the way that we talked about today, and you feel scared or you feel vulnerable or you're not sure, taking a few moments to do this breath in through the nose, opening up that heart, out through the mouth, breathing into your belly, and just staying with that breath for like 2-3 minutes before walking into that leadership moment. You are anchoring yourself in alignment, in coherence. You are regulating your nervous system, which we've already talked about is extremely powerful and potent. And you are finding the safety within yourself that allows you to do the courageous thing. So this moment, these 10 moments that we take together every morning, is helping you build and develop a skill that is incredibly powerful and incredibly potent for you to step into your highest leadership capability and capacity. And so in the last moment of breath, bring a hand to your heart if you don't already have one there. And let's just take a moment of gratitude. Breathing in gratitude to you for choosing yourself in this moment and for stretching and learning and expanding in this way. This is massive. I am grateful to you. And to your body for being a place where you can turn to for that safety when the world around you feels wobbly and you have to lead through it. We can be grateful to our bodies for that. And when you're ready, wiggling your fingers and your toes and coming back fully, more completely into the wholeness of your body and to the room. And if you feel called, I would love to hear in the chat how you feel, how that was for you, any ahas. And as you do that, please, if I continue talking, please still feel free to do that. I'm going to just kind of reiterate that we started this episode with the question of when is true leadership revealed, in what moments? True leadership is revealed in the moments when it counts the most, which is usually the most intense or the most vulnerable, the most uncertain. And it's in remembering that you get to be human, because it's about being able to step into repair over protection. It's about remembering that your intention does not replace your awareness, and you could have had the best of intentions in a moment, and with retrospect you realize that maybe you lacked some awareness in that moment. And if you choose to avoid that learning, you're losing out. It's in that learning, it's in the moment of what you do with that learning or with those realizations, it's in those moments that your leadership is revealed. Are you able to take accountability? Are you able to apologize without buts, without excuses? Are you able to step back into whatever impact that you may not have intended to have, but you did have for whatever reason, in whatever scenario? Are you able to step back into that moment and create the necessary repair for healing, for expansion, for deepening connection and trust, which takes vulnerability and takes great courage? Those are the moments when your leadership is revealed. And the majority of people have not been taught how to truly step into those moments. The majority of people don't feel safe in their own systems to do that. They want to self-preserve, self-protect because it feels unsafe to do these things. That safety needs to come from within. We practice that in our morning drop-ins. But today, I just want to kind of really state how those moments, because most leaders aren't actually leaders because they don't know how to do this. These are the moments where your leadership is revealed. And so that means that if you become committed to going, you know what, in those moments, I can step in. I can rise. I can do the hard thing. I can do the scary thing. I can do the vulnerable thing in the interest of deepening connection and trust and repair and healing and holding that vision and not losing momentum due to a mistake, for example. Momentum towards that bigger thing, that bigger mission that you're on. If you say that, if you choose that, if you commit to that, it takes some inner work. I say that lightly. It's not light. It takes some work. And also there's tremendous opportunity because most leaders aren't courageous enough to do that. They don't have the skills. They don't step into those moments, which is why I go back to when I started, I was like, leadership isn't about rank, it's about impact. So you could be at the quote unquote bottom of the organizational chart. And when those moments call, you are the biggest leader in that moment. Or you have the capacity to be. There's great, great, great opportunity where there's gap, and there is some big leadership gaps in the world. There's great opportunity. I'm going to put a link right here in the chat. Oh, that's not the right link. That links you to my mastermind. If you want to learn this stuff, if any of this is interesting to you and you're like, I want to strengthen this skill, I want to be that leader, I welcome you, I invite you to learn about the Visionary Leadership Mastermind, because it is transformational in the most incredible, evolutionary, progressive, impactful way. And the doors are opening up. We're starting our next cohort in April. So I'm leaving that with you. And I may or may not be live tomorrow because I'm traveling. So I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm going to think through tonight whether I can be live tomorrow. And if I can't, I will post something that still allows you to kind of not lose momentum for all of you who join me live every morning and who benefit from these morning lives. Okay, if you have questions, if you want to continue this conversation, if you have comments, if I triggered you, or if you feel angry, like whatever it is, bring it to me. I am here for it. I can take it. I'm not shy or scared of vulnerability. I know the impact and the deep connection and the beautiful gifts that come from it. So I'm here for it. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your reflections. I would love to hear your experiences. I would love to hear your ahas. I would love to hear your challenges. Send me a DM, send me an email. I am here for it, and they help me continue forward with these lives. If this was beneficial to you, please share it. Think of right now in your head, in your mind, a leader who would benefit from today's message. And please share my profile with them so that they can go and benefit from it. Because we all get to rise together. We have an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset, which is something that we will talk about in the near future because all of this is interconnected. Okay, with that, I am going to stop talking and I'm going to wish you a beautiful day. I wish you a beautiful day. I will see you in one way, shape, or form tomorrow, whether it's live or whether I share something, not live, but still at 9 a.m. with you Eastern. And I'm grateful. Thank you for choosing you and thank you for being here with me today. All right, have a beautiful day. I'll see you tomorrow, one way or another. Bye.